Good morning, ma'am. We are the Group 2 and Chapter 2, Introduction to International Trade. And I am Chapter 8, Lapunina, together with I am Charlene Angan. So first is introduction. There is no first world nor third world, but only one world. International trade is a vital for a country's development, involving the exchange of goods and services across borders through exports and imports. So here's the different ways of classifying the world. First and second, third and fourth world. First is Europe. Second is North America and Australia. And the third one is poor countries like India. And the last one, fourth, is very poor countries like Somalia, Malawi, Mali, Guinea, Togo, and so on. So, North and South. North is a wealthy and industrialized countries, while South is a poorer, less matured, and more agriculture. So here's the five-fold division. First is a rich industrialized countries. The second is oil exporting countries. Oil exporting countries is such as Saudi Arabia, followed by Russia and Canada. And the third is newly industrializing countries. And the fourth one is former communist countries. And last is heavily indebted poorer countries. Next is licensing. Products are marked not just in the form of physical kind, good, but can also be in the form of services. Business transaction can be done in various ways. First is licensing, franchising, management contracting, marketing in home country by host country, and joint venturing, and last is multinational corporation. So here's the globalization. So globalization is economic globalization is the economic mixing and interdependence of economics across the world through the cross-cultural movements of goods, services, technologies, and wealth. Much of the type of globalization can be seen through the importing and exporting of goods. Companies that are already engaged in a specific field in a business in a country often try to expand their markets abroad. These are some considerations that encourage why a company to exercise or plan into international business. So first is the products in the country is already experiencing saturation level and we have been experiencing the stage of decline, while abroad it is growing. Second is the potential of the international market in general is much more expansive than the domestic market. C is utilizing the capacity of machines are still underutilized as owned by the company. Letter D is competition is happening in the country, sometimes even sharper with the products coming from abroad. And the last one is developing new markets is an action that is easier than developing new products in the country. So, advantage of international trade. The nature of international business encompasses various aspects. accurate information. Second is timeliness of information, scale of operations, and fourth is market segmentation, and the fifth one is potential of international markets. Objective of international business typically includes to achieve higher rate of profits, expanding the production capacity and the demand of the domestic country, severe competition in the domestic market, limited home market, political stability versus political instability, and availability of technology and competent human resources. Recent international business growth can be attributed to several case factors. First is technological advancement and globalization. Globalization is the spread of the flow of financial products such as goods, technology, information, and jobs across national borders and cultures. And the third one is liberalization of trade. Is the removal or reduction of restrictions or barriers on the free exchange of goods between nations. And last is lower governmental barriers, problems in international business. The first one is political factors, and second is high foreign investment and high cost exchange, instability in entry and requirements, then tariffs, quotas, etc., and corruption and bureaucracy, technological policy. So let's complete the trade of Frederick Barbarossa. During the year 1162, Frederick Barbarossa destroyed Milan, and he entered the Rome the same year. So, Frederick Barbarossa also died in 1190, but he has a successor, that is the Emperor Henry the fourth, who conquered Sicily. So, according to the polls conducted in the 1980s, around 1/3 of people sampled in 30 countries were optimistic about the coming year. And countries with the highest optimism levels were Argentina, Greece, Korea, and the United States, where over half of the respondents expect the next year to be better. So let's continue with Miss Anna.
Good morning, everyone. I am Charlene Angan. My topic is all about 2.1 historical antecedent. The origin of the WTO date back to the concluding years of World War II, thus in the context of post-war planning negotiation. There was then a strong desire among the post-war planning led by Churchill and Roosevelt to avoid repeating the political and economic disaster partly caused by protectionism between World War I and World War II. Proposal for expansion of world trade and employment in late 1935 invited a code of conduct relating to the government restriction on international trade and creation of an international trade organization to administer the code. Nag-propose sila expansion sa world trade and employment in 1945. Like, ang China, naghatag ng mga gadgets sa ato so, dili lang para sa ato kundi para sa tibuok kalibutan. Then, ang kita naghatag mga agricultural product, dili lang sa isa ka lugar, kundi sa tibuok kalibutan. So, in short, nag-exchange tayo mga product na product sa ilan ng sila product sa ato. And 14 countries accepted the invitation by January 1946, except the Soviet Union to negotiate tariff reduction. Naghatag sila mga invitation sa ubang country, pero ang wala nag-accept ang Soviet Union. Economic and Social Council of the United Nations adopt a resolution calling for an international conference on trade and employment, which resulted in the preparation of much broader charter for an international organization. The IPO never entered into force to lack of support from U.S. Congress, but its important trade liberalizing instrument, the General Agreement Tariff and Trade, survived. The GATT in 1947 became a de facto international organization, providing a forum for its members to negotiate reducing tariff and non-tariff barriers. 7 rounds of negotiation were conducted between 1947 and 1979, with the first 5 rounds focusing solely on tariff concession and the remaining rounds also covering the non-tariff barriers. The Tokyo rounds had limited impact on the global trade, leading to the famous Uruguay round that gave birth to the WTO. And the next one is 2.2 Uruguay round, the birth of the World Trade Organization. In September 1986, Trade Minister of the GATT 1947 member met in Punta del Este, Uruguay, agreement to initiate the 8th round of multilateral trade negotiation known as the Uruguay round. The declaration identified 15 subjects for negotiation, including trade in goods, non-tariff barriers, and trade in service. Negotiation concluded in December 1993 with the deal signed on April 15, 1947 in Marrakech, Morocco. The Uruguay round was the most ambitious round of multilateral trade negotiation, covering various trade policy issues. The establishment of the World Trade Organization exceeded initial objective of the GATT in 1947. Marrakech Agreement established the WTO as an international organization for trade. The agreements cover details, dates, and schedule of commitment, with agreements laid out in 4 annexes. The first 3 annexes are mandatory. Example are all members must accept them, while Annex 4 contains optional plurilateral agreements. Annex 2 and 3 are the dispute settlement, understanding, and the trade policy review. Annex 1, the backbone of the world trade system, is then subdivided into 3 parts that correspond to 3 major basic agreements, namely goods, services, and trade-related aspect for intellectual property rights. The WTO agreement came into the force on January 1, 1995, making the WTO the second most important international organization after the United Nations. And the next reporter is Catherine.
The WTO as an international organization. The WTO's ultimate objectives include the increase in the standard of living, the attainment of all employees, and the growth of real income and effective demand, and the expansion or reduction of the trade in goods and services. These objectives must be realized in a manner consistent with sustainable development. Next is functions of So first is facilitating the implementation and administration and operations, administering the dispute, settlement, understanding, and fourth is administering the trade policy review mechanism, and the fifth one is cooperating with the international financial institution for greater coherence in global economic policy making. So, membership. WTO membership is not exclusive to states, separate customs, territories with full autonomy are also ineligible. The WTO has more than 153 members, including the European communities, and is expected to soon embrace almost every significant economy in the world, accounting for 97% of world trade. Institutional structures. So, the WTO Secretariat has conceived its own duties as follows: to supply technical and professional support for the various councils and committees, to provide technical assistance for developing countries, to monitor and analyze development in world trade, and to provide information to the public and the media, and to organize the ministerial conference, and to provide some forms of legal assistance in the dispute settlement process, and last is to advise governments wishing to become members of the WTO. Next is decision-making in the WTO. The normal decision-making procedure for WTO bodies is provided in Article 11 of the WTO agreement in the following terms. The WTO shall continue the practice of decision-making by consensus followed under. So, there are, however, common terms of recurrent in these agreements, 5 principles constituting the foundation of the world system have been identified. That is, first is trade without discrimination, fair trade gradually through negotiation, and C is predictability through vending and transparency, and D is promoting fair competition, and the last one is encouraging development and economic reform. Principle is embodied in 2 fundamental non-discrimination principles or obligations, namely the most favored nation treatment, MFN, and the national treatment. While principles B and C in the FAQ contain a number of rules on market access, MA and can be grouped as such. This section first focuses on the non-discrimination principles and the rules on MA, which are identified in the WTO agreements preamble as the 2 main means to attain the WTO's objectives. A that is to encourage development and economic reform takes into account the fact that these members need more time to implement the WTO agreements than the better off members of WTO law provides for a number of rules in the forms of exceptions in favor of these members of operatized principles. 2.4 Trade without discrimination or principle of non-discrimination. Non-discrimination is essential to WTO law and is reflected in all of the treaty list of the WTO. For example, is the GATS and the TRIPS agreement. In fact, as highlighted in the third particular paragraph of the WTO agreement, the elimination of discriminatory treatment in international trade relations is one of the means to attain the objective of the WTO. In essence, the MF treatment obligation prohibits discrimination by WTO members among different foreign exporters and service supplies, while the anti-obligation and constrains a WTO member from discriminating against foreign products in favor of like domestic products, services, and services suppliers. 2.41 MFN treatment under the GATT. MFN treatment under the GATT. The MFN principle of trade in goods ensuring in Article 1 of the GATT in the following terms. The principal purpose of the MFN treatment obligation as are non-discrimination obligations in general is to ensure equality of opportunity to improve and to import from or to export to all WTO's members, to determine whether a particular measure is discriminatory or not. Article 1 of the GATT set out of a three-tier test of consistency that whether the measure in question confers a trade advantage, favor, privilege, or immunity, whether the products concerned are like products, and whether the advantage of issue is granted immediately and unconditionally to all like products concerned. So, MFN treatment under the GATS. Article 2 of GATS prohibits discrimination between like services and service suppliers from different countries in the following terms with respect to any measure covered by this agreement. Each member shall accord immediately and unconditionally to services and service suppliers for any other members treatment less favorable than its offered to like services and service suppliers of any other country. Article 2 of GATS will be discussed in greater detail in section 4 of this chapter. Suffice it here to say that the concept of trade services is very broad. That leaves the question of what measure affects in services. That leaves that appellate body and Easy Bananas third effect clarify the term affecting as follows. So this interpretation is further reinforced by the conclusion of the previous panels that the term affecting in the context of Article 3 of the GATT is wider in such terms as regulating or governing. NP in the GATT. NP is provided in Article 3 of the GATT, which is of a general scope. In other words, The anti-obligation applies to imported products regardless of whether members have made tariff concession to them or not. In broad terms, the obligation prohibits the WTO member from discriminating against foreign products in favor of domestic products. So next is anti-immigrant. The anti-obligation prohibits WTO member discriminating against foreign products in favor of domestic products. Purpose of the anti-clause recognize that entering taxes and then other internal charges and laws and affecting the internal sale, transportation, purchase, and distribution or use of products should not be applied to imported or domestic products sold as to afford production to domestic production. In the case stated, the working parties worked on border tax adjustments, which is concluded that problems arising from the interpretation of the terms like or similar products should be examined on a case-by-case basis using the consumer taste and habits. One is the imported products and the domestic products are directly competitive or substitutable products which are in competition with each other. And the two is the direct competitive or substitution imported and domestic product are not similar taxes. And three is the dissimilar taxation of directly competitive or substitutable imported and domestic products is applied. As to offer protection to domestic product to establish a violation of the anti-obligation with regard to non-fiscal measure in paragraph 4 of Article 3 of the GATT, it is necessary to show that the complaint of measure is a law, regulation, or requirement affecting the internal sale, offer of a sale, purchase, transportation, distribution, or use of domestic and imported products. The imported products is like domestic products sold in the domestic marketplace, and thus favorable treatment has been afforded. Anti-immigrants. The GATS include the national treatment provision under Article 80, which requires each member to treat services and service suppliers of another members to no less favorably than its service suppliers of another member no less favorable than its own. To establish a breach of the anti-obligation, three elements need to be demonstrated: measure affecting trade in services like services or like services suppliers, and the treatment known as favorable. Next is the rule of market. To be continued with
Point 5. The rules on market access. The rules on market access are the core of WTO law, indeed as set out in the third preambular paragraph 3 of the WTO agreements. The substantial reduction of tariff and other tariff to trade in one of the two means to attain the WTO object of higher standard of living, full employment, growth, and sustainable economic development. The preambular paragraph also identified two types of barriers to international trade, namely tariff and non-tariff barriers. The former is particularly relevant for the trade in goods but of marginal importance for trade in service, while the latter relates to both trade in goods and in services. Negotiation to reduce tariff barriers to trade in goods. Custom duties or tariff are common barriers to international trade. WTO members can impose custom duties, but negotiation on tariff reduction are important. Reciprocity and mutual advantage are key principles in tariff negotiations. The MFN principle ensures that tariff reduction granted to the one members are extended to all members. Tariff concession or binding comment not to raise custom duties above agreed levels. Developed countries do not expect reciprocity from developing countries in trade negotiation. Enabling clause outline provision for developed and developing country members in tariff negotiation. Non-tariff. To trade in goods, the category of non-tariff barriers include quantitative restrictions such as quotas and non-tariff barriers. Differently from the case of custom duties, the GATT set out a general prohibition on quantitative restriction bidding on import or export in Article 11, which is entitled General Elimination of Quantitative Restriction. The general prohibition on quantitative restriction set out in Article 11 of the GATT is not without exception. To mitigate the effect of this exception, Article 13 of the GATT set out rules on the administration of quantitative restriction. In essence, Article 13 provides for three roles. The roles of non-tariff discrimination, roles on the distribution of trade, and roles on import licensing procedures. 2.6 Anti-dumping subsidies and countervailing duties. Dumping and subsidies are two common forms of unfair trade. WTO law provides relatively detailed rules for the former and for certain types of latter. Dumping and anti-dumping measures may cause injury to the domestic industry of the importing country. It is to be condemned 136 as a result. Article 6 of the GATT and the ADA provides both substantive and procedural rules on how members may counteract or remedy dumping through the imposition of ADA. Determination of dumping. Determination of dumping starts first with the determination of the entry. Article 2 of the ADA defines the entry of product as a comparable price in the ordinary course of trade. The difference between de jure and de facto. Contingency lies what evidence may be employed to demonstrate that a subsidy is export de jure contingency. Such demonstration necessarily involves the use of words in the relevant legislation. De facto export contingency footnote 4 to the SCM state that the standard is met if the facts demonstrate that the subsidy is in fact tied to actual or anticipated exportation or exportation earnings.
2.7 General Exception. In Article 14 begins with a Shapiro identical to that of Article 20, talked about in its operative part. Article 14 provides for measures that are necessary to protect public morals or to maintain public order, necessary to protect human, animal, or plant life or health, necessary to secure compliance with laws or regulations which are not inconsistent with the provision of this agreement, including those relating to the prevention of deceptive and fraudulent practices or to deal with the effects of the difficult or services contracts. So number 1, subparagraph, public morals. The concept of public morals is itself exclusive, covering a wide range of measures that may overlap with those covered under other subparagraph. The public morals exception was never invoked during the GATT 1947 era. In the WTO case law, there have been to date 2 cases where this exception has been invoked. The first case was U.S. gambling and the second is China publication and audiovisual products. Then, second is subparagraph human and animal or plant life or health. Subparagraph covers measures designed to protect human, animal, or plant life or health. This is a relevant easy to testimony since any measures that seek to reduce air pollution, eliminate cancer risk, or protect welfare. The third one is subparagraph. Each contains a non-exclusive, exhaustive list indicative of the laws and regulations that may reach the exception. In this connection, it is noted that the 2 lists are reflected different subject matters of the GATT and GATS. Firstly is the measures must be one designed to secure compliance with laws or negotiation that are not themselves. Secondly is the measure must be found that a system or granting tariff preferences to encourage countries to combat the production and trafficking of drugs. The fourth one is subparagraph of Article 20, conservation of inexhaustible natural resources. The exception involving the conservation of inexhaustible natural resources exists only in Article 20 of the GATT, and there is no comparable clause in the GATT that phrase inexhaustible natural resources has been interpreted so broadly that it is not limited to mineral and other non-living resources. This includes clear air and wild animals. Security exception. The security exception functions is similarly to the general exception in that they allow members to justify trade restrictive measure or on non-trade grounds. Trade and goods on the WTO's agreement. It discussed about the trade in goods under the World Trade Organization agreements focusing on six key aspects: the tariffs, agriculture, standards and safety, and textiles, trade remedies, and non-tariff barriers. The WTO governs in this area through three pair agreements: the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, which outlines principles like most favored nation, the Special Agreement on the Agriculture, Sanitary, and Phytosanitary measures, and the Agreement on Textiles and Clothing. Tariffs are effectively applied by the government on import of goods and services from other nations. They might be employed to further political or economic objectives, safeguard homegrown businesses, or political economic generate cash for the government. Key aspects of tariffs. This is the World Trade Organization WTO that its agreement. First is tariffs are binding. This means that WTO members cannot raise tariffs above the levels they agreed to when they joined the WTO. This is important for businesses and investors because it gives them certainty about the cost of importing goods. The second is a tariff is a subject to reduction. A tariff is a tax that a government places on imported goods and services that they use to protect domestic industries from foreign competition, raise revenue for the government, and achieve other economic goals. Tariffs reductions have been positive force for the global economy.
Agriculture. This agreement is a complex agreement and its implementation has been controversial because some critics argue that it has led to low price for farmers in developing countries, while others argue that it has not done enough to reduce trade distorting subsidies. The agreement of agriculture is currently being renegotiated and it is unclear what the outcome of this negotiation will be. Coverage and definition. Agricultural products in the agreement is important because it determines which products are subject to the agreement's rules. The agreement's rules include provision on tax, import tariff, export subsidies, and domestic support program. Market access. Tariff only protection. It means that trade barriers are primary tariffs tax on imported goods, while non-tariff barriers include food tax, subsidies, and technical standards. Tariff-only protection has mixed effects on agricultural trade, increasing trade and investment, but also leading to higher customers and producer prices. Second is tariff reduction. It's a process of lowering taxes on imported goods, with developed countries required to reduce agricultural tariff by 36% over 6 years, developing countries by 24%, and the less developed countries finding all measures like quantitative import restriction, variable levels, minimum import prices, and state trading enterprises, but does not prohibit non-tariff import restriction consistent with GATT or WTO agreement. The fourth is special safeguard provision, means that the trade remedies allow countries to expose additional tariff on imported agricultural product under certain conditions, providing temporary relief to domestic producers. Domestic support. It means that it's give financial support for domestic producers provided by the GIFT programs. Domestic support programs categorized by distortion levels provides financial assistance to domestic producers ranging from direct payment to upgrade animals numbers, allowing minimal or no trade distortion. Export subsidies. It reduces export costs with exceptions for specific reduction commitments. WTO schedules limit developing countries and those adhering to anti-circumvention rules. Then standard and safety, sanitary and phytosanitary measures. The WTO's PF agreements integrated into the GATT governs measures related to the food safety and animals and plant health. It emphasized the right of government to implement this PF measure for protection while discouraging unjust discrimination. Coverage and definition. SPF measures defined in Annex A include protection from pests, disease, contaminants, and prevention of damage. The agreements allow members to adopt measures but requires non-discrimination and adherence to basic principles. Key aspect of agreement. The SPF agreements outline principles like no discrimination, harmonization, equivalence, and the determination of an appropriate level of protection, risk assessment, transparency, and compliance mechanism are also critical aspects. Technical barriers to trade. The TBT agreement within WTO addresses technical barriers to trade, recognizing their necessary while ensuring appropriate use. It highlights the importance of international standards and aims to prevent these barriers from becoming tools of protectionism. Coverage and definition. Technical barriers to trade distinguish technical regulations, standard conformity assessment procedure. It emphasizes technical regulations should not create unnecessary obstacle to international trade. Key aspect of agreement on technical barriers to trade. Technical barriers to trade set out principles such non-discrimination, avoidance of unnecessary trade obstacles, transparency, scientific justification, harmonization, challenge and recognition confirming assessment procedures.
Anti-dumping subsidy and countervailing measure and safeguard. Anti-dumping measures are actions taken by governments to counteract the dumping of products in their domestic markets. Dumping occurs when foreign manufacturers sell products in a foreign market at a price lower than the normal value in the domestic market, often leading to unfair competition and harm to domestic industries. Anti-dumping measures can include imposing tariffs or duties on the dumped products to protect domestic industries from unfair competition. So, anti-dumping. Therefore, dumping occurs when a product is sold for export to another country at less than its normal value under the ADA MPS. The price in the home market when the good is sold at a price above the cost of production. Second is the price charged for the good when sold at a price above cost in third country markets. And last one is contracted normal value calculated as the total cost of producing the product plus a reasonable amount of for selling general and administrative expenses and profit. Key aspects of ADA. The problem causing concern here is that the entry from imports sold at unfairly low prices, dumping must need a remedy aid measure. The remedy is normally the imposition of duty on the negotiation of the price aimed to offset the margin of dumping. Duty remains in place as long as dumping margins persist. Right to initial and ADA action. An investigation to determine the existence, degree, and effect of any alleged dumping shall be initiated upon a right of application by or on behalf of the domestic industry. Article 5.1. An application shall include evidence of one is dumping, then the second one is injury, and the third one is a casual link between the dump efforts and the alleged injury. Article 5.2. Conducting an AD case and related matters. Normally, after the domestic industry submits a written application for AD action with initial evidence, the authorities concerned decide to initiate an investigation or decide to refuse to do so. So, subsidies and countervailing measures. So, subsidies and countervailing measures are provided for in the SCM. This agreement fulfills two functions. First is it disciplines the use of subsidies, and the second one is it regulates the actions that member may take of counter the effects of subsidies. So the coverage and definition is, the first one is a government practice involves a direct transfer of funds. For example of that is grants, loans, and equity inclusion. Potential direct transfer of funds or liabilities such as loan guarantees. The second one is government revenue that is otherwise due is foregone or not The third one is a government provide goods or services other than general infrastructure or purchase goods. And the fourth one is a government makes payments to funding mechanism or entrust or directs a private body to carry out one of the more of the type of functions illustrated into above which would normally be vested in the government, and the practice is no real sense differs from the practices normally followed by governments. So subsidies. Subsidy is a financial assistance provided by a government to business or industries to support their production, reduce costs, or promote certain activities. And subsidies can take various forms, including direct payments, tax breaks, or low-interest loans. Government often provides subsidies to industries deemed important for economic growth, job creation, or strategic reasons. However, subsidies can distort market competition and lead to inefficiencies. So, it means subsidies that require recipient to meet certain export regards or to use domestic goods instead of imported goods. Actionable subsidies. In this category, the complaining member has to show that the subsidy has an adverse effect on its interest. Otherwise, the subsidy is permanent. So, safeguard. Hindi siya safeguard na sa Safeguard. Safeguard measures are temporary trade remedies used by government to protect domestic industries from sudden and foreseen surges in imports that cause or threaten to cause serious injury to domestic procedures. These measures can take the form of tariffs, quotas, or other restrictions or imports and are intended to provide breathing space for domestic industries to adjust and increase competition. They are typically allowed under international trade agreement, but they must be applied in the manner consistent with those agreements and be justified by evidence of actual imminent injury to domestic procedures. So the SA grades safeguards. That the overview of safeguards are provided for the agreement or safeguards remain after the SA dealing with the emergency protections from imports. A WTO member may restrict imports of a product temporarily, take a safeguard actions if its domestic industry is injured or threatened with injury caused by the surge in these imports. Aspects of SA. The SA grades major ground in establishing a prohibition against so-called gray area measures and setting in a sunset clause on all safeguard action. The SA sets out requirements for the safeguard investigation, which include public notice for hearings, and other appropriate means for interested parties to present evidence, including on whether a measure would be in the public interest. So the next reporter is Felix Camania.
Non-tariff bodies or entities, important licensing. Overview. The ILB emphasizes that the important licensing, particular non-automatic important licensing, should be implemented in transparent and predictable manner. Non-automatic licensing procedures should be not more administratively burdensome than absolutely necessary to administer. Coverage and definitions. Important licensing is different as administrative procedures used for the important operation of import licensing regimes requiring and submission of an application or other documentation. To relevant administration, body as a prior to conditions for important importation into the customs territory of the importing number, Article 121. 233. Key aspects of ILP. The ILP covers both automatic licensing systems intended only to monitor imports and not regulate them. The non-automatic licensing system under which certain conditions must be met before license is issued. So next is custom valuation. Overview of custom valuation is the valuation of goods for custom purposes that concludes the use of arbitrary of choose customers' value. The basis for this valuation for goods for customers' purposes should be the greatest extent as possible. So, commercial practices and the valuation procedures should be of general application without distinction between sources of supply to party. Coverage and definition. Coverage and definition. The CBA customs valuation means a custom procedure applied to determine the customs value of imported goods. If the rate of duty is foreign, the custom value is essential to determine the duty to be paid on important item of goods. Next is aspect of the CBA. The GAP provides that the value of customs purposes of imported merchandise should be based on actual value the imported merchandise on which duty is assessed or like merchandise and should be not based on the value of merchandise of national origin arbitrary of fictitious value. The imported goods or identical or similar imported goods are sold in the country of importation and motivation as imported. The custom value of imported goods shall be based on unit price at which the imported goods or identical or similar imported goods are sold to greatest aggregate quantify or about the time or the information of the goods being valued. Next is pre-ship inspection. Overview. Pre-ship inspection. The agreement of pre-ship inspection hereinafter the EIS recognize the need of DCs to do so for as long and in so far as it is necessary to verify the quality, quantity, or price imported goods is mindful that just as programs must be carried out without giving rise to unnecessary delays or
unequal treatment of its coverage and emissions. Pre-ship inspection activities are all activities relating to verification or quality, the quantity, the price, including the currency, exchange rate, and financial terms, and or the customs classification of goods to be exported to the territory of the user number, Article 1 to 3. Next is number 3. K aspect of PIS 1245.
The agreement recognizes that GATT principles and obligations apply to activities of pre-shipment inspection agencies mandated by governments. The obligation placed on PSI user governments include non-discrimination, transparency, protection of confidential business information, avoidance of unreasonable delay, the use of aspects guidelines for conducting price verification, and avoidance of conflicts of interest by PSI agencies. Next to 14D. Rules of origin. Overview of rules of origin. The agreement of rules of origin hereinafter or ROO agreement aims the long-term harmonization of rules of origin other than rules of origin related to the tariff preferences and ensure that such rules do not themselves created unnecessary obstacles to trade, also to ensure that ROO are prepared and applied in impartial, transparent, predictable, consistent, and neutral manner.
Next is coverage and definitions.
Rules of origin. Hereinafter, the articles shall be defined as those laws, regulations, and administrative determinations of general application applied by any member to determine the country or origin of goods provided such ROU are not related to contractual or autonomous trade regimes leading to the counting of tariff.
Next is key aspects of the number 3. The key aspects of ROO agreement.
The ROO agreement is work harmonization to be initiated as soon as possible after the completion of Uruguayan round and to be completed within 3 years of initiation, Article 9(2). It will be based upon within 3 years of initiatives or region objectives, understandable and predictable.
So, analysis number 215. Agreement on trade-related investment measures.
Agreement on trade-related investment measures. Herein, after the trade agreement, recognize that certain investment measures restrict and resort trade. It provides that no member shall apply any trade inconsistent with Article number 3, NT, and Article number 11, prohibition of quantitative restrictions of GATT Article 2(1) of the PRIMS Agreement. PRIMS Agreement requires mandatory notification of all non-conforming PRIMS
and their elimination within 2 years for developing countries, within 5 years for DCs, and with 7 years for LDCs. Article number 5. It is the established committee to trains that will allow order, function, monitor the implementation of these commitments. That's all, and thank you.